The Versecast is brought to you by Engine. Create your free community website at enjin.com.
Hello, everybody. My name is Not a Gleep. Yeah. And today is December 23rd, 2947. We are those guys in charge. Whew, that was close. And you are tuned to the Versecast, are those guys with Ships gaming community podcast. Now, who's this Not a Gleep person, you ask? Well, IRL, that's me. You see, I'm not Gleep Gleep, nor am I Gleep's problematic mother, Star Gleep. No, I'm the guy behind the curtain that plays those characters on the show and in the game, or in games. But tonight I am here as my for real self to talk to you about the Versecast and our plans for its future. And because this is a Those Guys in Charge show, that means that john.pizza TM is here too. Now featuring none more calzone deliveries than ever before. Just don't do it.
Get it out of my face.
John, welcome back to the hangar. Good to have you back. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
What do you have against calzones? Calzones are wonderful.
Honestly, I can't remember the last time I had a calzone. But pizza's just, it's easier. It's like, why take the pizza and fold it? You don't need to. You can eat it without folding.
It's much easier to throw that way.
Yeah.
You try to frisbee an open-faced pizza, you just get toppings everywhere.
No, it's easier to frisbee a pizza. What are you talking about?
Pizza must be different where you are.
Calzone is just a big rock.
Calzone is a hot pocket is what it is. All right. So anyway, we are here to announce that the Versecast is going on a hiatus. Yeah. So simply put, I have come to a determination that it is time to reboot the show. I'm not yet sure how I'm going to go about doing this, nor what the show is going to look like when I'm done, but I am certain that it needs to be done and that the time is now. Now, Not a Gleep doesn't have... You notice the way I started speaking about myself in third person?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And wait, for this reboot, do we get to pick who plays us?
I think it has to be Oh, God, I had such a great idea for an in-game mechanic.
Uh-huh.
Randomized key bindings.
Oh, wow.
That would solve the whole control controversy.
Yeah.
No one would win.
You should be a game designer.
I think I actually am. Anyway, he has no fancy book learning behind how to write things good. So I write the shows entirely by how I feel about its topics. And I can't really explain how or why this works to the extent that it does. But it seems to be driven to a significant extent by my confidence in the credibility of what it is I'm writing about. I like theory crafting as much as the next guy, but to do this work, I gotta feel like I'm building theories upon something substantial. And unfortunately, my levels of confidence have been in steady decline over the past year or so. So, turn that smile upside down. No, frown. I can always get these things back. Not unlike Gleep, I don't do words good. So therefore, the time has come for us to make a fresh start of it. But because life, I'm going to need some time and some space to make these things happen. I got to figure out what I'm going to do, and I need some time to do it. So my best guess is that the Versecast will be back sometime late January or early February of 2948. So, out there in podcast land, you folks may be saying, so, Mr. Behind the Curtain Man, what does this mean for us listeners? What about us members of the Those Guys with Ships gaming community? So, relative to the podcast, it means that there's going to be a break in content for about 6 weeks. After that, it will mean that the shows will likely be different to some extent, and obviously my intention is to make them better. And as I've already said, I'm not sure how I'm going to make this happen, so we will see how well it works together. But rest assured that the overall tenor of Versecast shows will continue to be positive. I want the podcast going forward to be an even better representation of who we are and the type of gamer we want to attract to come play with us. I'm not interested in retailoring us to be more like anybody else. My intention is to further customize the show to fit our organization, because I feel like it's slipping away from that. Maybe there will be some additional projects for Not a Gleep. Yes. So over the last, because God, John, we started this 2014. We're at episode 187. And over the course of that time, we have, I've had ideas, I've written them down, I've lost them. Sometimes I find them, usually in the lint trap in the dryer. But there's a lot of things that I would like to try, and given the way that we've been doing the show to this point, I just don't have time to tear things down and rebuild them. So I'm looking at this as an opportunity to also do some of that as well. But anyway. Because one of these things, let me describe one of these things that has come up of late. Because the Versecast works hard to maintain its positive bias, there are topics which, though worth discussing, they're not appropriate for discussion on the Versecast shows. And this is mostly because they're controversial. So Wolf Larson, Gritspitter, and myself have had a series of conversations about these things that are less fun than the stuff that we normally discuss on the shows, but things which we believe are still relevant to the Star Citizen project. So we are talking about periodically doing an additional podcast, and the working title is Postcards from the Middle. I thought that one up. In which we will attempt to distill the important and relevant bits away from the more polarizing parts of topics, so that maybe a constructive dialogue might result, which is not that easy to do nowadays. Pretty tough times for hashing things out. And there's not going to be any changes to Those Guys with Ships gaming community, I don't think. I don't anticipate that much, if anything, about the community needs to change at all. Those Guys with Ships is and will continue to be our Star Citizen organization. We have similarly named groups in several other games. Check those out on our website, which is versecast.org. And speaking of which, John, you don't have any plans to change the website anytime soon, do you?
It's a possibility.
Oh no! What are you gonna do?
Honestly, I've learned a lot about web design since I made the Versecast website.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it'd be a lot easier for me to do a redo. The problem with the current site is it's basically unusable on mobile.
Mm-hmm.
And I know some people have wanted to use it on mobile, and we since we launched our Discord, the forums haven't been getting as much use because a lot of people just go over there. So I'm thinking maybe the forums could be optimized in some way so that people would want to use them more. So I don't know. There's stuff that could be done there. I don't know when or if I'll be able to get to it soon, but it's a possibility.
Oh, cool. Well, yeah, I've in addition to some ideas for wordy words to put down on the pretend paper here, I've also had ideas about trying to standardize our branding, our iconology. Is that a thing? Is iconology, is that a thing? Making all our emblems and stuff.
Iconography.
There you go. Bingo. So yeah, I think that there's some we can take this opportunity to maybe make some freshen some things up, and perhaps we'll have it done in time for spring, when the flowers come up and people let the dogs out to go poop, So it'll be a beautiful thing. Because we had talked at CitizenCon. We had talked about Spectrum, and at that time you had said, "Well, okay, that there goes the need to do all of that kind of stuff, because they're gonna handle a lot of this for us." But as we all know, that hasn't, because that was CitizenCon a couple of years ago. That hasn't, or a little bit more than a year ago now. That hasn't happened, and we don't really have any visibility into that happening soon. And I know that a lot of people, I hear other groups talking about the desire to have org communications on mobile with access to voice, text chat, and forums too on a mobile platform. So. Hey, this might be a good chance for us to play around with that a little bit. So
yeah, I think Spectrum, as far as forums goes, is perfectly usable as far as I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't used it a ton, but I know that it's updated quite a bit since it first launched.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that the way development is going with the game itself, I don't know if it's smart to just move everything over to there, at all. I mean, it's just so hard to tell right now, so...
Well, I mean, if you were to make some changes now and sort of give us an iterative solution that's good for a couple of years, that might make sense, because...
Yeah.
Conservative estimates on launch for the PU are 2 to 3 years. So, it could be it'll be that long before it really makes sense to migrate over there in mass once and for all. Because we'll have a ceremony like where we migrate over to Spectrum and then we burn the ships or something, like the Romans did.
I was imagining the scene in the Dark Crystal where the guys make the pilgrimage to the castle in the end,
mm-hmm.
and then ascend into the heavens.
I like that too. You're saying when you use your imagination, anything is possible. Usually. So okay, well, cool. That's and we'll chat about that kind of stuff, and that will be fun too. But before we get out of here, because you got anything else? You have any thoughts about all of this? About taking a little break on the show?
Yeah. What do you think about doing a Dark Crystal podcast?
Done. As soon as we're done with this, we'll start immediately.
No, honestly, I think I've said it before, but I remember in 2012 when Star Citizen was first announced and the crowdfunding started, I remember somewhere seeing the date 2015 and thinking that was suggested that was when the game would be near launch.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking, man, it's gonna kill me to wait that long. And now we're going into 2018 and we still don't have it. So, man, it's really hard to wait that long. I mean, we're going on 7 years now.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I think it's also a good thing to focus energy on our gaming community, which was, the point when we first started anyway, was that we wanted to make sure that we had a good group of folks to play with, because I think we had talked when you, me, and Caleb had started this, that a lot of times you get into a game and you really love it, but you can't find anybody to play with, and so then it really sucks. But so we've got a lot of good friends to play with. So I think that's a beautiful thing, and to keep those friends coming back and hopefully bring new friends in. We got to keep playing. And I think right now we need to play some other games, which is what we've been doing. Play other games and focus on making that a little bit more of a featured portion of our fandom. You know.
Yeah.
Yep. Not saying that we're walking away from Star Citizen or anything like that, because I've mentioned. Ooh, look at this segue. I've mentioned a couple times over the past several shows something that I'm calling the promise of Star Citizen, and I am certainly guilty of making up a concept in my head, and repeating it to myself so many times that I just believe everyone else in the world understands what I mean when I say it. So. I will elaborate a little bit here. And I tend to use this phrase in context of describing the rallying point or the principle or the concept or whatever it is that has brought us here together to this group. So I was thinking a little bit more about what might be a good example of what the promise actually is. And then it occurred to me that, John, I remember the day. I remember the day back in 2014. It must have been 2014, early 2014. Actually, I had just got this computer I'm sitting in front of right now. I had, it was at the time, it was, you could launch rockets with it, you could run small countries with it, and I was playing Minecraft on it because that made sense. And I was playing Minecraft on your server. And you said, "Hey, have you heard of Star Citizen?" And I said, "No, what's that?" And then you explained it to me, and I said, "Wow, that sounds like really like that would be a lot of fun." And he said, "Yeah." And so we can get a bunch of guys together, and then we'll go do exploring like you can in Minecraft. We'll be able to do all kinds of other things that will be great to do together as a group, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So at that point, I said, yeah, sure, I'll go. I'll invest $45. Oh God, and away we went at that point. And I agree with you what you were saying earlier, because I obviously at that point I asked, so when's it going to be done? And I think you had said, it's supposed to be done 2015 or something. I'm like, oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, next year, that's a long time. But anyway, so we started the show, and we quickly started attracting some friends to play with, and it's, without reservation, I say, has been one of the best experiences in my gaming life. So, thank you again for inviting me to come join you on this. It's been very, very cool. But what you shared with me that day as I was, running around, punching trees, was the promise of not the promise of Minecraft. It was the promise of Star Citizen. And so shortly after I backed, there was a video that came out. And it was, I must have watched it 100 times that, right after it came out. And because it was magic, because it was, you were describing, and then spaceships, and I'm like, oh, hey, that sounds good. But then I saw this video, and it was an amazing demonstration of what it was that you were sharing with me. And of course, that I'm talking about the Imagine trailer from Years 100. And it was originally released in October, so we had started doing the show in July. So I must have bought in like in May or something, or June. But anyway, so this came out shortly thereafter, and then CIG did an official version of the trailer after that, which they released pretty close to the year end, I think. I still like the original one better, but I think that it's magic. I mean, you look at it and it's like, I want to go be there. And and the focus of the video is, what do you want to do? What adventure do you want to create? What is your story? And that's what I mean by the promise of Star Citizen, is that it's going to provide the tools for everybody, for all of us, to determine that for ourselves. What our story is, where we want to go, what we want to do, and who we want to do it with. So, and it's taking longer than we had imagined in our wildest dreams. But that is what it is. And in the meantime, we do the best that we can with what we've got, and celebrate the friends that we've made. So, how's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right. So. So anyway, yeah, and I'll do periodic updates. Watch the Twitters as to how things are going. But as of right now, this will be the last thing that we put out, probably until early to mid-February. And then at that point, there will be something new and shiny, and I don't know what it's going to be, but it will be something, and I do promise you that it will be there. So, please go to engine.com. They are the quick, easy, and free solution for hosting your community website. That's enjin.com. Engine coin. John, did you know that Mark bought an engine coin?
Did he really?
He did. He bought an engine coin, and then his basset hound ate it.
Oh, no.
It's smart cryptocurrency for gaming. Check it out at enginecoin.io. You can reach us. The best way to do that is by email. comms@versecast.org is the address. On Twitter, we are at Versecast. Do be sure to use the hashtag TGW. John, have you been following the hashtag?
I haven't checked it for a little bit.
There's a couple of interesting. There's another game developer out there that it looks like they're developing a game. Interesting stuff.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
You do. On Steam, we are Those Guys with Ships, and be sure to check out our Those Guys with Ships gaming community website. It is versecast.org, where you may also see some exciting changes happening soon. So, my name is Not a Gleep, and I was never here. John, it's great to have you back in the hangar, even if it was just for a brief little bit here. Happy holidays to you and your family. I hope Santa gets you some real cool stuff. Do you have any insight into in what Santa's getting you?
No clue.
No clue. All right. I'm getting Santa sent me a fax. He's not quite up on email yet, so he sent me a fax. He said that he's bringing me the Steam controller and Link thing.
Oh, wow.
Because it was $9.
That's interesting.
Have you ever used one?
I've used the Steam Link.
You have, and what do you?
Yeah,
did it
I have
work well
one.
for you? Work well
Yes,
for you?
it does. If you have it wired, it works basically flawlessly.
Okay, and wired to network or wired to television or both?
Both, yes. HDMI and Ethernet.
Oh, okay, I got you. But otherwise, I can do wireless. I can do HDMI to the link, and then wireless to my my router.
No, I mean the data should be wired.
The data should be wired.
Like an Ethernet. You want it connected to your router.
Oh, well, okay, yeah.
Not
yeah.
wirelessly.
Okay, so
The wireless. I think I tried the wireless, and there was noticeable lag.
Too slow.
It might be playable, especially if you had like AC wireless. I don't know if I don't even know if the Steam Link itself has AC wireless, but when I tried wireless, it wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I remember, and my router's like right next to the link, but when I got it wired, it's basically unnoticeable.
All right, well,
for most games, unless you're playing I wouldn't play competitive Overwatch on it, but
that was going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
I know for you it is. All right. When does the world tour crank up again for you?
Oh gosh, man, it just never stops.
That's john.pizza world tour. Dominating.
You have the Ethernet in your living room?
I do not.
Oh,
that's an issue. So
yeah, I mean, it's worth a shot.
You know what? If nothing else, for $9, I'll just wrap it up in dough and call it a calzone. And a happy and safe holidays to those guys with ships everywhere within the sound of our voices, and everywhere else too. We'll be back next year, and as I said, we'll be back with something. Not sure yet what yet, but it will be something. And let's enjoy it together again for the first time then. Until next time then, we are those guys with ships, and this has been the Versecast.
See in the
You want-
verse.
Do you want to do something like we're doing a podcast? You know, so something I can isolate and tack on the end of every other show. Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Are we still live?
Yeah.
It's a pizza.
That's good. That's no calz. Oh, how would Big Shack say no calzone? It's pizza, no calzone. Just pizza, no calzone.
Yeah, just use that.
All right, man. Everybody take care.